If you work out and go to the gym and you're starting to really like how things are looking, do you stop going to the gym or do you keep going? Right? Even though you're still doing the same exercises, I mean, doesn't it get boring? Doesn't it get monotonous? You become conditioned not only to like working out, you become conditioned, almost addicted to the results that it creates. Point in our world where I had a business fail and I was sitting in the parking lot of a bankruptcy attorney's office, about ready to lose it all. I had a father-in-law who swooped in and helped us out and bailed us out of that situation, yet it took a moment like that to sit back and say, okay, where did I mess up? And then to change that statement, because all too often we look at where did I mess up and it goes negative. And to change that statement and ask a question, going back to mindset of, okay, what am I learning? What am I going to learn from this experience so that I can create the future that I desire and that my family deserves?
What up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. And today we are with a special guest. As a matter of fact, we just met about a week and a half ago now, as of when this was recorded. Somebody introduced us, somebody I know. He's like, you need to have Jake on your podcast. And I said, okay, what does Jake do? He said, well, he's going to do about 100 million in volume this year. I said, okay, let's do it then. And not only that, but he has a 7th level team. He's a bold coach. He's a father of 5 children. He's a husband. He's an OP in a market center. I mean, the guy's just got a lot of things going on, but he's figured out how to balance it and how to live a balanced life and be able to spend the time with his family that he wants. He has a date night every single week with his wife, and he's just killing it. And it's just a great interview of balance. You know, I know we don't talk probably enough about this, where, you know, it's not always just about working and grinding, but it's about that lifestyle where you are, you know, you're working hard. Or we don't want to take anything away from that, but at the same time, you're able to play hard, right? And you're able to enjoy life and spend time with your family. So I love it. It's a lot about mindset. We talk about bold and what bold does, the conditioning. Just a great interview. I hope you guys super enjoy it. His name is Jake Gienger, like the word singer. Great interview. I would listen to over and over. And Masters, we have a special holiday opportunity for you right now. If you purchase the expired school, obviously right now with the market shifting, okay, there's going to be fewer sellers, more competition with realtors. You need to stand out with your scripts and dialogue. So right now you can purchase our expired school program, which has been purchased by hundreds of people who are using it at a high level. Okay, you're going to get your scripts, you're going to get your audio files, your pre-listing packets, everything you need to be successful with expireds, as well as some flyers. You're in a group of other people to role play and practice. You get your audio files that you can listen to at the gym or when you're driving, you know, so you can really internalize the scripts as well as the mindset of why somebody would even hire you. So here's the cool part. The expired school is there. It's online. It's only $149. However, I'm working on FSBO School right now. So FSBO School is not quite out yet. However, all the scripts are complete. My friends, if you purchase expired school right now before December 1st, you're not only going to get everything with expired school, you are also going to get all the scripts that go with FSBO School. You understand that? You're going to get all the scripts. And then once the full program's out, we're going to share it with you. Awesome, amazing opportunity. Take advantage right now. So again, register, go to schoolforrealtors.com, purchase expired school, and then I will send you the scripts for the FSBO. So now you're going to have both. Okay, so again, you're going to stand out over everybody else. I'm also going to add you to a special group. You're going to have everything you need to be successful right now with FSBOs and expireds, my friends. Just go to schoolforrealtors.com, register, and I look forward to working with you and growing your business as everybody else gets out of the business. You rock. Hey, Masters, welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. Today I'm with Jake Gienger, just like singer. And Jake is a bold coach. He also comes to us from Denver, Colorado. Jake started his business in 2009. He closed 87 transactions his first year in the business. Wow. Jake is the principal team leader of a mega team who is on track or pacing Jake to do about 100 million in volume this year.
Yep.
He has 49 rentals. He's an investor. He owns 2 market centers. Man, the guy's just doing a lot of great things. He's killing it. So thanks for spending some time with us today.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Oh, and I forgot the most important thing. And Jake is married to the love of his life, Emily, for 20 years, and he has 5 children, guys, ages 18, 16, 14, 10, and 8, and he knows how he counted down. So, hey, man, thanks for joining us, brother.
My pleasure.
Well, first, we just met. I mean, we met, I don't know, a couple weeks ago at the Masterminds event, and I forget who even introduced us. Actually, James, right? Pat James. And he said, you should have Jake on your podcast. And you and I had never met before that. And I'm just like, okay. So I'm like, what do you do? He's like, well, he closed 100 million this year. I said, okay, awesome. Now let's get him on the podcast. So again, thanks, man. Talk to us about your business.
The fun part about the business, it's a 7th level team. I've been in the business since 2009. I've got 2 great partners that actually operate the day-to-day of the team. Today we're under contract and closed on just over 60 transactions year to date, and we're not even into May yet. So that's one of our big claim to fame this year. I had a great first quarter. I'm pacing to do about 100 million. We've been in Gary Keller's private mastermind since 2011. 2 years in, we were able to qualify for that. And just there's all sorts of stuff to it. We created through the real estate side of the world, as the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book shows. Once you create that business and it starts to grow and develop, it will spin off into multiple opportunities and multiple businesses. So it's opened the door for me to be an OP, have ownership in another market center, to open a property management company, obviously have my own investments as well, and then also coach.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting how at KW, we have Gary wrote the book called The One Thing, right? But yet anybody you talk to that's highly successful in this company has multiple things going on, right? And you just said a lot, so I want to dig down on each of those, and we're going to talk about that too. 7th level team, how long has your team been 7th level? And tell us about that. How did you get there?
So I started with that focus from day one. The way I was brought into real estate and into Keller's too is one and the same. I was talking to a gentleman, my father and I were buying some investment properties. We had sent some referrals to an agent. He wasn't calling those referrals back. They called me and said, hey, can you just help us do this? The answer, of course, as we all know, is sure. It was just figuring out how. So I met with a team leader from Keller Williams back in Denver and talking about some other business opportunities. He turned around and said, hey, if we're going to do business together on this level, you need to read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book and see if you're willing to follow the concepts that are taught, and then we can be partners. And that was on a whole different business opportunity and venture we were putting together. I walked out the door that Friday, attempted to walk out with the book, and he actually pulled me back in and pulled the book out of my hand and said, if you're really serious, go buy it. That's a whole nother story. So I went out, I went and bought that book, read it over the weekend, called him up on Monday morning and said, hey, is it this easy? Because really the book shows the structure and truly simply shows the model that we can follow to build out this business. And I was a business builder in the industries that I was in before, which allowed me to really grasp that. And we sat down Monday afternoon, and he looked me in the face and he said, look, it's not easy, it's simple. And yet most agents aren't willing to do the work consistently to get to this level. And if you're willing to do that, this is your spot. So went out, got licensed, hung my license, and the rest is history. Followed the model, built a team out. We were 7th level by 2014.
So you said 2013? So what, just 2 years?
We were a really messy 7th level in 2013, to be frank.
Yeah.
That was when I started to look at some other ventures as well. And that was midway through 13. Probably by 2014, it was pretty solid. And we were back on a growth trajectory into 2014. And now today, 2018, I coach and consult with the team about 2.5 hours a week is what I do. I oversee our property management company. We have a gentleman that runs that who reports directly to me. That's a couple hours a week. And then outside of that, it allows me to go out and fulfill the other passions that I have.
So when you said it was messy, what's the difference now? Like, how'd you clean that up? Is it a person? What's the difference?
People and systems. People and systems clean up the mess. I think the challenge that we have, and this is in any business, is as it gets messy, we're tempted to dive back in and clean it up because we know how to clean it up. And what happens when you dive back in and clean it up is you rob your people of the opportunity to grow and learn from that mess the same way you did.
You have to have the right people. I'm gonna throw that in there right now because that's key.
Completely.
It has to be the right people.
And you have the right people if they're willing to dive in and get their hands in that mess to clean it up. If they're pushing that mess back on your plate, they may not be the right folks to take your business to the next level. Or you're also allowing that to happen, which is a whole nother story in itself. So as we push back, I was a listing specialist. I took all the listings on the team. I converted at a pretty good rate, just over 80%, 82%. And that was FSBO's expired, Sphere, all that. So when I left and my business partner, Roxanne, took over on that listing side, she was doing pretty well with her Sphere. And yet once it came to FSBO's and expireds, because she didn't have the experience, because that was my cup of tea, our conversion rate dropped substantially, which means unless we're willing to go out and take more appointments until that skill set increases, we also saw a drop in income. And we did. Our income, our GCI, our commissions dropped that next year to a point where we had to really take a look at it. And the best thing that she did is, again, this is why when you got the right people, she said, look, I may not be the right person for this. And she found a great listing specialist, but that takes humility to admit that you're not the right person for that, yet you are the right person to lead. And she went out and found a great listing specialist that just closes like a maniac. And from that point on, our business has grown every year since.
I have a very similar team situation right now where I've been out of the business since my last month in the business was actually January. And we are 7th level. Thank you. Yeah, but it's very similar where a lot of our business came from my sphere of influence. Also, I did a lot with FSBOs and expired. So now we're starting to see a little bit of a decline. And it's almost the exact same setup where the person who runs the team, she's amazing, but FSBOs and expireds just aren't her strength. I'm trying to figure out, what is the quality that would make somebody a great leader, but yet they wouldn't have the skills to convert FSBOs and expireds, if I'm even asking that the right way. Do you know what I'm saying?
So a leader, think about the word this way. John Maxwell, in his, I can't remember, Leader 2.0, I can't remember the full title of the book. Yet in that book, what he says is if you take the word leader and you change that to influence, a leader carries influence. And either way, positive, negative, or neutral. The question is, do they carry an influence in a manner that's going to inspire and grow that team? And do they have the humility to get out of the way when it's not their strength? Because the key to all of this, we know what our strengths and our weaknesses are. I mean, David, you grew a big team as well, and we sat in that room together with Gary, and every conversation in that room, it wasn't about where do I find the business. It wasn't about how do I take more listings. It was always about how do we get to the right people, and how when we have the right people in our world, they'll take that to the next level. And typically we're not the right person to grow past where we're at, and it takes us getting out of our own way. And that becomes the ceiling, the natural ceiling that so many of us hit, is we believe that it's up to us because this is our business and we grew it and we have to be the ones that run it. And the reality of it is we may not be the people in the day-to-day business to be able to get it and accelerate it to the next level, even if we have the vision to go there. So as a leader, we create the vision, we create the influence, and then we find the folks that are going to run that system, run that model, and fulfill that vision.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to say, I mean, and I would say most cases we're not the people that can do that, because most of us are great salespeople, and a salesperson and then somebody leading a group of people, those are two different sets of skills.
Completely.
I'm learning that now. I mean, I'm a team leader of an office with 400 agents. I love it, but it's really, really pushing me to increase my leadership. That's actually a big reason why I did that, why I took advantage of the opportunity, you know. But I do want to shift gears with you and talk about, you know, being a bold coach.
Let's do it.
You know, I get to spend a lot of time with the bold coaches a few years back. And so talk to us, what does a bold coach do, first off, for people that might not even know what a bold coach is?
Basically, it's a 7-week coaching and consulting course that Diana Kokoska wrote several years ago. And it's constantly being modified and updated based on our markets. And what it allows us to do is pop in once a week. It's a full-day course. And really, number one, impact the thought process of the agents and the students. And number two, help them increase and impact their production. What we understand is that 90% of our production starts with our mindset. 90% of that success starts in the mindset. It's how we think, not necessarily what we do. A simple example of that is you walk into an appointment and you're telling yourself that you're not going to get it, you're not qualified, you're not good enough. Just because you carry that belief into the door, I can guarantee you're not going to get it. However, if you turn around, even if it's your very first appointment, and you show up and you're confident because you've been telling yourself, you know what, I'm prepared, I've done my scripts, I've done my dialogues, I've put in the work, I'm ready to go, you're going to show up with that same level of confidence, and that confidence is going to carry you even if you mess up the listing appointment.
Sure. The person you're meeting with is going to have confidence in you as well because you have the confidence.
And they're not going to know the difference. I mean, the coolest part, you hear story after story about people who walk in, take their first listing, close their first listing, and the seller says, what caused you to pick me? And the seller will say, because of your confidence and your experience. And they kind of chuckle because it's their first listing, it's their first closing. And yet the seller didn't realize that or recognize that because they were confident in what they did. So it's an opportunity to really have that impact. So what we do, I mean, the day-to-day of it, we basically hop in city to city. So my schedule today, I teach in Atlanta on Tuesday, and I teach in Kansas City on Wednesday, and then I fly home.
Okay, got it. I got that part. I want to talk about the confidence, though, the mindset. 90% of success is mindset. You guys go in, you help transform people's mindset. How does that start? Like why, someone goes through 7 weeks of this, they come out the other side. What are you guys actually doing?
So it's a combination of self-belief, understanding, and the connectivity. We teach that words define an experience. They aren't the experience. And yet we utilize words in our language and our vocabulary and not necessarily always recognize how powerful those words are. So example, you wake up in the morning and it's been a rough day. It's been a rough evening. You wake up the next day and you wake up, roll out of that bed and you say, man, I am so tired. You're going to drag through the rest of that day just because you woke up and you set yourself in that mindset that you were tired. However, you flip over, you jump out of bed and you say, you know what? Today's a great day and it's going to be awesome. And that's your affirmation. That's your statement that you say as you get out of bed. You're going to create a great experience through that day. Now, let's be honest. Is it going to be perfect? And the answer is no. Yet what it allows you to do is take a look at those pieces where you may have fallen short, because we all do. And instead of saying, hey, I failed here, be able to have the confidence to say, what did I learn through this experience and how do I get better? How do I improve through that process? So that's step number one as we go through this, is we really help them understand that what we say and how we speak to ourselves has an impact. We shift into goal setting at a really deep level that allows us not just set goals, it allows us to understand the why behind them. What's important about these goals creates connectivity to them, which then makes doing the actions to achieve it meaningful. And it connects those two. And then from there, we expand their beliefs on simple concepts like money. We're raised with limiting beliefs around money. We're raised with limiting beliefs around success. And to be able to address those head on, because sometimes those limiting beliefs around success or money are our biggest nemesis. Those are the pieces that could hold us back the most. And then we move forward, talk about how we have our own self-image.
So let me ask you this, because I hear this quite a bit, and I've been this, I've experienced it myself. People say, well, I've already taken bold, so I don't have to take it again. Or right now, obviously as a team leader, it was a tough bold launch for us in the spring, but everybody's saying, well, I already took it last fall, so I'm going to do it in the fall. So what do you say to people that, they say, well, I've already done it? What would you say to that person?
Well, I guess the question is, if you work out and go to the gym and you've been working out for 2 or 3 months and you're starting to really like how things are looking, do you stop going to the gym or do you keep going? Right? Even though you're still doing the same exercises. I mean, doesn't it get boring? Doesn't it get monotonous?
For me, no, because I love working out. So, but I'm conditioned.
Exactly.
I've conditioned myself to do that over the years.
There you go. You become conditioned not only to like working out, you become conditioned, almost addicted to the results that it creates.
That's true.
And with bold, what we find is those who choose to go back time and time again become conditioned not only to the mindset, they also become conditioned to do the activities every day that create those great results. Gary Keller put it this way. He said, when you look at successful agents in our business, the successful agents, those who are in that top 100 group, those who operate at the levels that you and I do, they do it not because they got lucky. It's because they're willing to do the same boring, monotonous things every day consistently. And by doing those same boring, monotonous things every day consistently, it creates the results that everybody else desires. The challenge is, are you willing to do the same boring, monotonous things every day? And for some of us, what it takes is to be in a room where others are holding us accountable to do those same activities every day to create those results. Because what we see is you go through a 7-week course with Bold, and within 30 days, unless you've hired a coach, unless you've created another layer of accountability in your world, eventually you'll fall back into doing what was comfortable and what you were doing before.
Yeah.
Just like working out. You go work out for a couple months, things start to look good, you start to shed the weight a little bit, you start to tone up, and then you stop. It's only a matter of time before you get your old body back.
Masters, we have a special holiday opportunity for you right now. If you purchase the expired school, obviously right now with the market shifting, okay, there's going to be fewer sellers, more competition with realtors. You need to stand out with your scripts and dialogue. So right now you can purchase our expired school program, which has been purchased by hundreds of people who are using it at a high level. Okay, you're going to get your scripts, you're going to get your audio files, your pre-listing packets, everything you need to be successful with expireds, as well as some flyers. You're in a group of other people to role play and practice. You get your audio files that you can listen to at the gym or when you're driving, so you can really internalize the scripts as well as the mindset of why somebody would even hire you. So here's the cool part. The expired school is there. It's online. It's only $149. However, I'm working on FSBO School right now. So FSBO School is not quite out yet. However, all the scripts are complete. My friends, if you purchase expired school right now before December 1st, you're not only going to get everything with expired school, you are also going to get all the scripts that go with FSBO School. You understand that? You're going to get all the scripts. And then once the full program's out, we're going to share it with you. Awesome, amazing opportunity. Take advantage right now. So again, register, go to schoolforrealtors.com, schoolforrealtors.com, purchase expired school, and then I will send you the scripts for the FSBO. So now you're going to have both. Okay, so again, you're going to stand out over everybody else. I'm also going to add you to a special group. You're going to have everything you need to be successful right now with FSBOs and expireds, my friends. Just go to schoolforrealtors.com, register, and I look forward to working with you and growing your business as everybody else gets out of the business. You rock. Let's talk about everybody that's on the podcast. I send a couple questions. I asked for a couple questions, and the question you asked is, what would you consider to be your greatest success, and what have you learned along the way?
My greatest success, honestly, is my family. It's having an incredible relationship with my wife after 20 years and having 5 kids that I love to be with. And I believe they still love to be with me. I mean, my 18-year-old son and I have 3 trips scheduled for this summer together. So that to me are some of my greatest successes. And to be able to have that type of a relationship with all the other things that we take care of every day to create this world is my biggest pride and joy. Now, it doesn't come without the challenges and without work, and we're just willing to work at it.
Well, and it's because of the other things you're doing, like the boring, monotonous stuff that you show up and do every day, then it creates these other opportunities for you so that you can take these vacations and spend time with your family and do other things.
100%. And what it does is it creates disciplines, right? Because one little discipline in one area of your life carries over into others. So to share some of the things that we do that have created these relationships and allowed for these things to expand. My wife and I, every Friday night is date night. It's been that way for years. She knows it. It's in the calendar. I know it. And it's that time for us just to connect. And sometimes it's simple. We go to the grocery store without 5 kids. And people laugh, yet it's her time and my time together. Sometimes we sit down and we have that fierce conversation where, we're talking about how are we growing together? How are we working together within our relationship? How do we get better together? Which allows us to continue to grow closer. The flip side to that is We also do a weekly date with our kids individually. So we found the importance of that contact with her and I every week, and we rolled that over into our kids. For example, my wife this week, she takes out our 8-year-old tonight. So she's got a date with our 8-year-old tonight. I hang out with the rest of the kids, and they go out, they do something together. It gives them an opportunity to have fun, to connect without the distraction of the other kiddos, and it's their personal time one-on-one, which it creates that unique bond with our kids where they truly know that, yes, we're their parent, and yet they can still have these intimate conversations with us because we're going to help coach them through it.
That's awesome. Talk to us now about what would you say is one of the biggest challenges that you're dealing with, and how are you working through that?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's a great challenge, and at the same time, it's opened my eyes to the opportunities. As you become more successful, as your businesses grow, as you found out yourself, opportunities start to come to you. And for me, it's the difference between good and great. It's slowing down enough to ask the question of, am I filling my schedule with good things, or am I filling my schedule with great things? Because don't get me wrong, we can fill our day with good things and still be good. Yet when we fill our day with good things, are we going to be great? What that means is sometimes I end up saying no to people I care about deeply, to things I care about deeply, because there's other items or other pieces or other time that's more important. And that's one of the interesting pieces. As soon as you clear time in your schedule, it's amazing how quickly it fills up. Diana Kokoska tells us, sometimes in order to put something into your day, you've got to pull something out. It's kind of like your dresser. If you want to go get a new wardrobe, before you go get the new wardrobe, you got to clear space in your drawers to be able to put it somewhere, which means you've got to get rid of some of the old stuff. And your schedule works the same way. It will fill up, and it will fill up with something. The question is, are you filling it up with the right something?
It's funny, when I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, like, when you said 90% of success is mindset, that metaphor with the closet, I bet you the mindset's the same thing, right?
Oh, 100%.
There's some new stuff in there. You got to get rid of some of that old stuff.
Yeah, you've got to be willing to challenge it. Challenge those old beliefs and ask if it's really true. Those conversations, the flip side to that, there was a point in our world where I had a business fail, and I was sitting in the parking lot of a bankruptcy attorney's office, about ready to lose it all. I had a father-in-law who swooped in and helped us out and bailed us out of that situation, yet it took a moment like that to sit back and say, okay, where did I mess up? And then to change that statement, because all too often we look at where did I mess up, and it goes negative. And to change that statement and ask a question, going back to mindset of, okay, what am I learning? What am I going to learn from this experience so that I can create the future that I desire and that my family deserves? And what am I willing to do that's different to ensure that happens? And the minute that switch flipped, there became clarity and it got real. And that's when the investment property started to come online. That's when all this other stuff started to come together. And I realized the reason we went down the investment property road and bought as many as we did as fast as we did was because the intention in that moment was to create a passive income stream that was so great that my wife and my kids had the income every day from that one revenue stream to cover the lifestyle they chose to live, including the household bills, which then would give me the freedom to go out and do what I'm passionate about, which is build businesses, impact lives the way we impact lives through those businesses, and have the experiences that we're creating.
I want to jump back to in the beginning when I said the One Thing book, because I mentioned a lot of us. I have a team. I'm a team leader. I host webinars for training, FSBOs and expireds. And I'm actually a trainer as well for the One Thing. I'm certified One Thing trainer. I'm a KWU certified trainer. So it's like we have all these things, but yet we live by a book called The One Thing, right?
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
It is.
Tell us. I know the answer.
Yes, you do.
Tell us why.
It almost seems counterintuitive when you think about it, right? Hey, what's your one thing? That's kind of become just a coin of a question that people joke around with. The real question is this. In each one of these areas of our life, when you look at the book, Gary and Jay, they break it up into multiple areas of your world. It could be financial, it could be spiritual, it could be family, it could be health, it could be fitness, it could be your businesses, and then each business. And the question that we ask in the One Thing, and this is the resounding question, is what's the one thing I can do today that by doing will make everything else easier or unnecessary? And when you look at that question, what I do in my world to wrap my mind around it is I'll say something like this. If I'm operating in that moment with my team, with my real estate team, the question is, what's the one thing I can do right now with my real estate team? Because that's my focus in the moment. It would make everything else easier unnecessary. To keep me hyper-focused in that moment on what's important and clear any other distraction out. It's about being present. The flip side, I may be 2 hours later in my real estate offices with my team leader or my leadership team, and then the same question comes up, right? What's the one thing I can do today in this moment with my market center leadership team that would make everything else easier unnecessary? What's the one thing I can do in the moment right now with my family that would make that relationship, everything else in that relationship easier unnecessary? So it's about slowing down and asking the question in each one of those activities where you're at. And for me, it's about being purposeful and present. To give you an example, my wife and I last week had a fierce conversation, and I love her dearly, and I'm so happy we had it. We were on our date night, and I'll go personal for a second. And she said, hey, this summer, you're only going to do one bolt. I said, yeah. She said, here's my fear. Literally, this is what she said. Are you going to stop working long enough? Because I know when you're on the road, you'll work until whenever because you're on the road and you don't come home to the family. And you can do that. You can get away with it. When you're home this summer, you're going to stop working long enough to be present. Meaning, when you come home at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, are you going to put your phone away? So I asked her the question, okay, going back to the one thing question. I said, so what's the one thing I could do to prove to you this commitment is real? And she said, when you walk in the door, take your phone and put it in the nightstand every night. And that's how I know that you're present and you're home. So that's what I started doing.
I love it. So it's being present, and it's doing one thing at a time. You know, it's not just one thing. I think that's the misconception. People feel like, oh, it's not just one thing, but it's like you said, it's being present and purposeful, doing one single thing at a time. Anything I should have asked you, man, that I didn't ask you? Any questions?
You know, here's the one thing I'll tell you. People always ask, how do you have time to do it all? And you're in this situation as well. What it comes down to is we all have the same amount of time every day. The question is, what are you filling your time with? This goes back to the question of good to great. Is it good stuff or great stuff? Are you filling your time with stuff that makes you feel good because it's what you think you could be doing, or are you filling it so that you feel busy? And if it's not great, then fill your time with the great things that are going to help you live the life you desire.
So how do our listeners get in touch with you for referrals or anything else? So
if you have a Denver referral, for those who are with KW, you can pull it up on the Kelly app and add me to your referral network. That's Jacob, Jacob, Gienger is where you'll find me there. That'll pull up my team. The other way is you can also just shoot me a quick email at coachjake@myhometeamdenver.com. coachjake@myhometeamdenver.com.
Awesome. A couple more questions. We're going to get wrapping up. Do you have a book recommendation that you would give our listeners?
I'll tell you, the book I'm reading right now, and I've read it twice since Masterminds last week, and it was because I believe you mentioned it and about 18,000 other people mentioned it, is this book called Never Split the Difference.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I went through the book first. Now, I'm an Audible guy, so I listened to it, went back, and now I'm listening to it with a notepad, and I bought the book almost to use it like a textbook, because what he goes through and how he goes through the conversations around negotiation, it doesn't matter if you're in sales. It doesn't matter if you're in day-to-day. It doesn't matter if you're a mom. We negotiate every day with somebody. And the techniques that he utilizes really help both parties feel like they won. And it's a powerful, powerful, powerful book. So I highly recommend that.
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. And it's funny because Chris Voss, if you go back to my episode number 84, it's Chris Voss interview, and it's probably one of my most downloaded interviews. It's amazing. Chris is a solid guy too. It's funny you say that because we were actually just recently talking about bringing him in to do an event for us, get about 20 people together. Yeah, he goes out. It's fairly reasonable. I mean, he doesn't charge a ton of money to come in and do a one-day workshop. And for our listeners, if you want to get a copy of, well, first off, make sure you listen to episode number 84 of Path to Mastery, but also get yourself a free copy. If you don't have Audible, go to davidsfreebook.com and you can get yourself a free Audible download of Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. So Jake, I appreciate your time, my friend. And I always end with the same question, except for starting now, I'm going to switch it up. You let me know how this feels to you.
All right.
But my final question is going to be, what does path to mastery mean to you?
Mastery is a journey. When I talk about it, when I think about it, when I journal, my path to mastery personally, it's about being willing to forgive yourself for the mistakes and daily, moment by moment, get better and grow. And it's knowing that you didn't fail, you just moved forward. So how do we take those opportunities where we messed something up, or we asked a question, or we made a statement, or we may have gotten lost in emotion, and say, okay, next time that opportunity arises, how do I respond appropriately? What's a question I could ask? What could I have done differently? And that allows you, by having those conversations, those internal dialogues with yourself, to get better on a regular basis. And it's being willing to be vulnerable with yourself so that you can master yourself first.
Outstanding, my friend. Hey, I just want to say I appreciate your time. It was great to meet you, and I look forward to connecting again really soon, my friend. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Hey, thanks for the time. Have a great day.
Masters, if you know me, you know health and nutrition is number one, and that's why I'm an advisor for Advocare products. Listen, in my opinion, these are the best products on the planet, guys. You get what you're supposed to get, right? I use the products for health. I use the products for energy. I use the products for wellness. So we have all the different lines from Spark, starting your day with a great energy shot, all the way to pre-workout. It's whatever your goals are, right? It's whatever your goals are. You can check out the products at www.livelongersmarter.com. That's my website. Or reach out to me. I'd love to have a 30-minute or, anywhere from 15 to 30-minute conversation with you, just talking about your health and nutrition goals and what I can do to help you achieve those goals. So again, products, energy line, or wellness line, whether it's joints, you're getting up there in the age, you just want to take care of yourself. I'll tell you, one of the greatest compliments I get is people, you say, wow, you look amazing. I cannot believe you are the age you are. Weight loss. I've helped lots of people, guys, lose weight, not just lose it, but keep it off with the products. And the cool thing is, I'd say 75% of the people who start with our products, they continue using our products even after they initially tried them, which has been amazing. And strength, if you're into bodybuilding, then hey, Rich Fronin, okay? I don't know if you know who Rich Fronin is. He's an advocate for Advocare as well. So amazing products. You can see us. We're featured on NASCAR, professional soccer, college basketball, college football, Men's Health magazine last month. These are the real deal, guys. LiveLongerSmarter.com is the website, or reach out to me if you, like I said, if you want to have a personal conversation with me, just send me an email. In the subject line, just put Advocare products, and I'd love, like I said, schedule a 15 to 30-minute call with you to talk about your health and nutrition goals. Guys, you rock. Live longer, smarter. And as Gary Keller eloquently said, if you don't take care of your body, where are you gonna live? You rock.
You are listening to One More Sale with your host, David I. Hill, author of the Sales Playbook. Get your copy at www.thesalesplaybook.net.